Hey guys, it's Richard the Realtor here with Remax Home Team on the Next Level Group. I'm here today sharing you guys a video on financing with a very special guest I have here, Luisanna Cabrera from Chelsea Groton Bank.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for inviting me, Richard, and for having
pleasure.
me here. So my name is Luisanna Cabrera. I work for Chelsea Groton Bank. I focus in the Waterford Groton area, but I am licensed to be able to do mortgages in the entire state of Connecticut and entire state of Rhode Island.
All right, well thank you for coming.
Of course, happy to be here.
We're going to talk about financing and a couple things that you guys need to know why you're applying for a loan to buy a house. So let's start it off. This is one of the misconceptions that most people have when it comes to buying a home. So I just want to set this one straight right off the bat. So I want to buy a house. Do I really need 20% down to start buying a house?
You do not, Richard. And a lot of the customers have the misconception that they need 20% down on the table to be able to do a transaction like this, and that is false. Chelsea Groton specifically has programs that start as low as 3, 5, 15%, and even as low as 1% for specific programs that we keep in-house. So you do not need 20%.
So we don't need 20%. Look at that. And so to buy a house, where do I need my credit to be in order to obtain a loan?
Sure. So for Chelsea Groton specifically, we require a 620 minimum credit score. So,
620 minimum?
Yes, 620 minimum.
Okay. And say I don't have the best of credit, can I get a cosign?
Absolutely. So when I do run into customers that have a little bit of a lower credit score, either one, if it's too low, then I just work with them throughout the next 3 to 6 months to kind of help them boost that score. Definitely making sure you're making your payments on time. Definitely making sure that you're spending within your own means. So if you have a credit card that has a limit of $10,000, but you really can only pay back, $3,000 or $4,000, then you really shouldn't be spending where your credit limit is. Another part of credit is also making sure that you look out for the things that hit your credit the hardest. Some of those things are things like mortgages, if you have a mortgage already and not making your payments in time, your car, and also your credit cards. So making sure that you stay on top of those things. But you can also add a cosigner to the application to kind of help with that credit score part, and also help if you needed additional income in order to qualify.
All right. Well, thank you for that. And another one that I get a lot is what's the difference between being pre-qualified and being pre-approved? Is there any?
Yeah, absolutely. So pre-qualified means that the customer came in or applied online, and just based on the information that they provided to me or on the application, I can say, hey Richard, I took a look at your application, and based on what you wrote on the application, I can say, you can qualify for this $200,000 house. Pre-approved is actually when the customer provides me with the verification documents that we specifically ask for, and the loan or file has been through several departments all the way to underwriting, and they've approved the loan. And so that gives both the confidence to the buyer and the seller, knowing that all their documents have already been checked and they're good to go. They just need a home.
Exactly. Okay, so you guys heard it here first, what that was about. And so say I want to buy a house. What type of loan programs is there, or is there just you give me one and done?
One and done. That's actually not true. There's a bunch of different programs, and the reason so many exist is to kind of cater to the buyer or the borrower that's applying. We have your normal conventional loans, which are usually requiring at least 5% down for a single family house, 15% if it's a multi-unit property. We also have a bunch of government loans that we offer, such as USDA, VA, CHAFA, or FHA. Some of those programs are specific to first-time home buyers. Some of those are specific to location. Some of them are specific to a specific type of borrower, such as a veteran or someone in the military for a VA loan specifically. And that program, you can actually come to the table with no down payment, right? As little as 0% down for it.
If it's my first time buying a house, do I have any assistance, or is it just, what you said earlier in the video?
So as far as if you're a first-time home buyer, there are a bunch of programs that exist. Some of them are attached to government loans, such as CHAFA. They come with a down payment assistance program if the borrower chooses to use it. And so what that is basically them letting you borrow, in addition to the mortgage, they're letting you also borrow the 3% down for your down payment. It is not free money, so that 3% you'd have to pay back in addition to your mortgage, and usually it's a really small payment because the down payment is small. But there also are a bunch of grants, either specifically to this area, or there's also other ones that exist outside of the state of Connecticut that you can apply for, but it's also first come, first serve. So if I have a borrower that I know is eligible for that specific program, I encourage them all to apply, but it is also first time, first serve. So I also want to make sure the borrower doesn't depend on that money.
Exactly.
But there are different avenues for different things, and that's also part of my job to help find those resources for you.
And that's also dependent on the type of person and their current situation, right?
Absolutely. So they would also have to qualify, and usually that means the household income and what people inside of the household make. So if it's it's not just the parents. So if you have a son that's 17 and 18 and he's working too, then that income would also fall under your loan.
Okay, and
for qualifying purposes at least.
For qualifying. All right. Well, definitely that's good information to know. Most people are not aware of that.
Good.
Yeah. The last question for you would be, say I'm a buyer. I've already got pre-approved. We've already put an offer in on the home that we like. We're just waiting for it to go through underwriting, for us to do inspections and, get the ball rolling and get to the closing table. Mm-hmm. In this time, while I'm waiting, is it okay for me to go buy, new furniture for my house and, a new whip to match, a new nice car to match the house? Can I do that?
You cannot. We do not recommend that you do any types of transactions, whether that's adding more debt to your credit cards or adding another liability if you're going to purchase a new car, or maybe that payment for that new car is a little bit higher than what you're paying now. When you go through the pre-approval process with us, we're going by what the numbers are when you've applied originally, right? And you've given us the document that shows this is the amount that you pay for your car. So if you start kind of like moving those numbers around, then you can ruin your chances basically of being qualified for that house when it comes to signing the paperwork, because everything gets verified even at the very end.
Even at the very end.
Yes.
So there you go, folks. If you're thinking about splurging while you're still in the real estate transaction, that's a big no-no. That's something you don't want to do. But we're gonna cut it here. But one last question for you before you do go, Luisanna, since we do have you here. What is the one thing you might recommend to any buyer? What's the most important thing to take away from this when they're looking to buy a house?
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Some of the buyers that come to me maybe aren't ready, at that specific point in time, but it could be the perfect opportunity for you to learn about the process, for you to learn about the programs, for you to ask the questions that you're kind of afraid to ask. And maybe we can set up a plan where 3 to 6 months from now, we can put you in a position that you're ready for. So, you don't know what you don't know, and don't be afraid to ask. You have the professionals such as Richard and myself in these roles so that we can do our job and help you guys.
Awesome. Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. I thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure.